Ian, that's a lovely hat.
Hello, Gordon. I haven't really met Gordon properly, but I don't suppose he's met many people since he's come down here.
Vic, yeah, it's something that I've missed out on. It's been an interesting induction period.
Yes, I bet. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to the West Country.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Just hope you're all keeping well. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes while we bring everyone into the call from the waiting room, and then we'll be with everyone shortly. And worth mentioning just at this point that you'll need a pen and paper for your answers if you're planning to take part. So we've just got a couple more minutes. So if you want to pop up and grab a pen and pencil, then
Is Max Waller actually participating, or is he actually answering questions or reading questions?
He's participating, and he loves it.
I've got my one question. I've got my one question. I'll keep it to myself. Is that right?
You've got one question.
Well, I thought I read Ben's email, and we were asked to put one question of our own in. Is that right, Ben?
that is incorrect. Yes.
Okay.
Is that what I'm meant to do as well?
Yeah. Get thinking.
You've got 2 minutes.
Well, you don't read your emails properly, isn't it?
Okay, just going to we'll give it 2 more minutes and then we'll get cracking, guys.
Right, I'm going to go and find another question because I've got some quizzes out there. So I'll be back in a minute. I'll be online, Ben.
Yeah, I think so.
First of all, thanks everyone for joining us this evening. This is our first ever Somerset County Cricket Club virtual members quiz, and I hope everyone out there is doing okay during this period. Whilst we can't quite replicate having everyone together in person, we should have a good hour lined up for you during this time. For those that don't know me, I'm Ben Warren from the commercial department here at Somerset, and I'm going to be joined by 4 special co-hosts, as you can see in the chat. These are Gordon Hollins, Vic Marks, Lewis Gregory, and Marcus Trescothick. Just a very small piece of housekeeping. This call is being recorded, and we'll pop it on the club website next week. So if you have any friends that couldn't attend or would simply like just to watch it back, you certainly can do so. It's fantastic to see so many of you guys on the call, so welcome to everyone. And then lastly, we should have time for a quick question and answer session once the quiz has been completed, but I'll give some more details about the logistics of that later. So to start us off, I'd like to hand over to Somerset Chief Executive Gordon Hollins, who's going to give us a formal introduction. Gordon.
Thanks, Ben. Well, it won't be that formal, but thank you nevertheless. And thank you to everyone who's taken the time to join us this evening for what, as Ben says, is the inaugural virtual members quiz for Somerset County Cricket Club. I hope that the quiz that this evening is a welcome distraction for everyone during an interesting period in our lives that will make a really interesting chapter in all of our memoirs going forward. But I hope you have a bit of fun tonight, and it takes your mind off the more serious things that are going on in the world today. Also like to say I hope that everyone is well and that your families are well and that you continue to be right throughout this pandemic that we're going through at the moment. Before we get into the fun, I'd just like to say how delighted that I am to be with Somerset County Cricket Club. I joined on the 16th of March, and within a week the world had collapsed. But honestly, it wasn't me, but it was something that has resulted in the most extraordinary induction programme probably anyone has ever gone through. But we're weathering the storm, and whilst we've got some challenging times ahead, of that there is no doubt, like every other small to medium-sized business across the UK. And there are some chinks of light out there right now. And we've got the West Indies who have arrived in this country. They're in Manchester, landed on Tuesday, I think, which was such an important thing for the game from a financial perspective, which affects us all. And also, I'm deep in discussion with my fellow chief executives around the first class county circuit about what the truncated domestic county season might look like. I've got discussions on that virtually every day at the moment, and we're making some progress, but at least there's chinks of light and we can look forward to playing some cricket again. I'll be updating everyone, all members, in due course on progress on various fronts, but I'm very happy at the end tonight. I know Ben has allocated a Q&A session. I'm very happy to take questions if anyone would like to throw any my way. So on that note, let's get into the fun and let's get the evening started. The first round is, I'm told, my responsibility, and it is all relating to the Cooper Associates County Ground and the history of that ground. And the first question for you to write your answer down to was, in which year was greyhound racing first held at the county ground? In which year was greyhound racing first held at the county ground? Was it A, 1955, B, 1961, C, 1965, or D, 1971? So it's A, 1955, B, 1961, C, 1965, D, 1971. I'll let you all write your answers down to that question. We're going to provide answers at the end. I think that's right, Ben, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
All the questions, all the answers at the end. We move on to question 2. What year was the Somerset Pavilion, now known as the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion, officially in use for a cricket match? What year was the now named Trescothick Pavilion, previously named the Somerset Pavilion, first officially in use for a cricket match? No clues on that one. No options. It's a straight question. Question 3. How many floodlight pylons are in place at the Cooper Associate County Ground? How many floodlight pylons are in place at the Cooper Associates County Ground? Moving to question 4. As I said, recently we announced the Somerset Pavilion would be renamed the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion. But what is the Marcus Trescothick stand now being referred to? Marcus, is there anything that hasn't been named after you? We've got a bar named after you, or is it just stands and pavilions? What is the Marcus Trescothick stand now being referred to? Five. What year was Somerset County Cricket Club formed? What year was Somerset County Cricket Club formed? Was it A, 1871, B, 1875, C, 1881? What year was Somerset County Cricket Club formed? Was it A, 1871, B, 1875, or C, 1881?
Sorry, Gordon. I was on mute. I couldn't get myself off. I was listening.
Was there anything that hasn't been named after you, I think was the question.
Well, it's just the way it should be, isn't it?
Right. Question 6. How many grounds in Somerset, this is a tricky one. Geez, I couldn't get this. How many grounds in Somerset have hosted a first-class match? How many grounds in Somerset have hosted a first-class match? Was it A, 5, B, 9, C, 14, and D, 19? How many grounds in Somerset have hosted a first-class match? A, 5, B, 9, C14 and D19. There's nothing that asks how many Vic Marks has played on either. Question 7. True or false? Betting company William Hill were once ground naming partners of Somerset County Cricket Club. True or false? Betting company William Hill were once ground naming partners of Somerset County Cricket Club. Question 8. How many seats are situated in the Somerset stand? This is the stand located in front of the flats, which were built 10 years or so ago, I think it is now. How many seats are situated in the Somerset stand? The one located in front of the flats, is it A, 1,234, B, 1,798, or C, 2,341? Is it 1,234, 1,798, or 2,341? Question 9. Who are the St James Street gates named after? Who are the St James Street gates named after? No clues. Question 10, another true or false one. There used to be stables situated at the ground, with horses used to assist the ground staff in rolling the pitch. So it's straight true or false. There used to be stables situated at the ground, with horses used to assist the ground staff in rolling the pitch. And that completes the Cooper Associates County Ground questions. If I can then pass back to Ben.
Thanks, Gordon. Yeah, some really interesting questions there. So next up, we're heading to the glory years, and I'm delighted to be joined by Somerset legend Vic Marks. Vic, how are you going?
I'm fine, thanks, Ben.
Good, good. Well,
and I've got some really interesting questions.
Good.
Because you gave them to me.
Potentially, but we must just mention before we go to your questions, we discovered earlier today that it was 37 years ago to this very day that you took 5 wickets at Taunton in the World Cup for England. So that must have brought back some happy memories.
Well, I hadn't been to the website today, sadly, and I didn't realise it was. But I mean, I haven't forgotten it. Most of them were caught on a boundary, really. But you know, they all count. My deep mid wicket was in very good form with his hands.
I think you had 2 caught on the boundary. I saw today.
Yeah.
An LBW.
Yeah, I think Ken Palmer might. No, was it Ken Palmer who gave it? I expect Ken might have given it.
Yeah, he gave it, and then caught mid on by Big Bob.
Yeah.
And stumped Gouldy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, in those days, miss hits could be caught at mid off. Now, I suppose if you're very, very lucky, they're caught at long off.
Yeah.
It was a bit easier then. Anyway, but they all count. Yeah, and it was a great day. Apart from the fact that Beefy got run out for naught.
Brilliant. So,
anyway,
yes, take it away. Vic,
yeah,
your glorious questions.
Well, thank you, Ben. Actually, I'll just say my thank yous now to Ben for organising this and also sending me 9 of the 10 questions. So the first one, I mean, these are easy questions, provided you're over 60. So, question 1. How many trophies did Somerset win between 1979 and 1983? I'll give you a clue. It didn't include the county championship. How many trophies between 1979 and 1983? Question 2. How many overs per side was the Gillette Cup final of 1979? Fairly straightforward. How many overs per side was the 1979 Gillette Cup final. Question 3. Who played more one-day games for Somerset? Ian Botham or Viv Richards? Ian Botham or Viv Richards? Number 4. What was Dennis Breakwell's nickname? And you've got a choice of 3 here. Twitch, Snitch or Titch? Well, he certainly wouldn't have answered to 2 of those. He might just have answered to 1 of them. Twitch, Snitch or Titch? Number 5. Who took incredible figures of 5 for 14 from 11 overs in the 1981 Benson and Hedges Cup final? 1981 B&H Cup final. I can tell you we're going to win. 5 for 14. Now we have a true and false. True or false? I promise you I didn't make this one up. True or false? I was man of the match in the 1983 one-day cup final. True or false? Number 7 is another multiple choice. How tall was Joel Garner during his time with Somerset? Was it A, 6'4", B, 6'6", C, 6'8", D, 6'10"? So you've got a choice: 6'4", A, 6'6", B, 6'8", C, 6'10", D. Number 8. Ian Botham made 96 not out in the semi-final of the 1983 NatWest Trophy. What was unusual about the score? Was it A, Somerset won the match by losing 1 fewer wicket? B, it was the first instance of Duckworth Lewis being used in the UK? C, both sides recorded their highest List A score? D, it was the highest amount of extras recorded in a List A match? Good luck with that one. Do I have to repeat them, Ben? A, losing 1 fewer wicket. B, first instance of Duckworth Lewis. C, highest score. D, highest amount of extras recorded in a List A match. Number 9. Which bookmaker was responsible for Viv Richards signing for Somerset? Name of the bookmaker responsible for signing Viv Richards. And number 10. In 1983, Somerset played Sussex at Hove in the quarter-final of the NatWest Trophy. We bowled them out for 65 in 40 overs. There were 4 wickets for Garner, 4 for Botham, and we won by 7 wickets. Who was man of the match? So who was man of the match in 1983 in the quarter-final against Sussex? Was it Garner? Was it Botham? Was it someone else? That completes the 10 questions from that era. Good luck. They're all very easy, really.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Vic. Some really interesting questions in there again. Next up is the 90s and early 2000s, and what better man to join us than a Somerset legend in Marcus Trescothick. Tres, how's it going, mate? He's on mute. We'll unmute him. There he is.
I'm having a bit of issue with unmuting myself tonight. I don't know what is going on, but thanks for this again, Ben. Some good questions again. Straight into it.
Go for it, mate. All yours.
Okay. In what year did I make my Somerset debut? Question number 2. Who scored the winning runs in the 2005-2020 Cup final? Question number 3. It's an A, B, or C. Somerset reached the 2002 C&G Trophy final after an incredible 5-run victory against Kent at Taunton. But who took the final wicket in the match to wrap it up? Was it A, Stephen Jones, B, Matt Bulbeck, or C, Keith Parsons? Question number 4. True or false? Peter Trigo once scored a goal for Chippenham Town in the FA Trophy tie against Hemel Hempstead with a 70-yard free kick from the edge of his own area. True or false? Question number 5. How many first-class wickets did Andy Caddick take for Somerset? A, 850, B, 875, C, 1,050, or D, 1,075? It's a lot of wickets, whatever it is. Question number 6. Who scored more runs for Somerset across all formats? Graham Smith or Ricky Ponting? Question number 7. Who took the crucial wicket of Shahid Afridi in the 2001 C&G Trophy final? Question number 8. How many test match wickets do I have? Question number 9. On June 27th, 2006, Somerset smashed a club record T20 score against Gloucestershire at Taunton, with Cameron White and Justin Langer putting on an incredible 186 runs for the second wicket. What at the time was the highest partnership for any wicket in T20 cricket anywhere in the world, what score did Somerset end up with from the 20 overs? And I want both runs and wickets lost. And question number 10, which is one I've just plucked out of a quiz that we've done with the players. Bar myself, can you name the other Somerset English player to be involved in the 2005 Ashes series? And who did he catch? I'll read that again, just in case anyone's confused. Bar myself, can you name the other Somerset English player to be involved in the 2005 Ashes series, and who did he catch? That is it, Ben. Over to you.
Thank you, Trez. So we've 30 questions done. We've got one more round to go, and we're headed now into the current era. And delighted to welcome Somerset T20 captain Lewis Gregory. How's things, mate? He's on
Take
mute.
him off mute.
Hello, Lewis Gregory.
He's on mute. I said,
Hello, I'm
There
here.
we go. How's it going, mate? You all right?
All good, sir. Yourself?
Perfect. Yeah, we're all good, mate. Cool. So you're going to take us away with some questions from the current era.
Yes, we shall do. Evening, ladies and gents. Hope everyone's well. So we'll kick things off. Question 1. Who has more first-class wickets for Somerset? Myself or Jack Leach? Who has more first-class wickets for Somerset? Myself or Jack Leach? Number 2. Who was man of the match in the 2019 Royal London One Day Cup final? Who was man of the match in the 2019 Royal London One Day Cup final? I hope you're all watching. Question 3. Nice long one for you. Due to a poorly parked car in an urban area, Somerset's team bus got stuck in the road during last year's Royal London One Day Cup as we went from the ground to the team hotel. This resulted in traffic being backed up and several players failing miserably to find a solution of moving the car. Which team were we due to play the following morning? I do believe Trez was running down the street knocking on plenty of doors.
tried to bump the car in the end, didn't we?
Question 4. On what ground did I score my maiden first-class century? On what ground did I score my maiden first-class century? Little clue, it was not the Cooper Associates County Ground. Question 5. Which IPL franchise was Tom Banton picked for in the most recent auction? Which IPL franchise was Tom Banton picked in the most recent auction? Question 6, true or false? I have a black belt in Taekwondo. True or false? I have a black belt in Taekwondo. Question 7. Which current member of the Somerset squad has played tennis at Wimbledon by invitation ahead of the main tournament? Is it A, Steve Davis, B, Josh Davey, or C, Tom Abel? Which current member of the Somerset squad has played tennis at Wimbledon by invitation ahead of the main tournament? A, Steve Davis, B, Josh Davey, C, Tom Abel. Question 8, another true or false. James Hildreth has played football for Bristol City. He's a lovely footballer. True or false, James Hildreth has played football for Bristol City. Question 9, on which ground did Max Waller take his 100th T20 wicket for Somerset? A, Sophia Gardens, B, Hove, or C, Bristol? On which ground did Max Waller take his 100th T20 wicket for Somerset? A, Sophia Gardens, B, Hove, C, Bristol. The final question of the modern era is who scored the most runs for Somerset during the 2019 Vitality Blast? Who scored the most runs for Somerset during the 2019 Vitality Blast? Hoping for 10 out of 10 from everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, Lewis Gregory. So we do have one final question for you this evening. It's a special question that's coming via a pre-recorded video. And it's coming from an overseas player that made a real difference to Somerset County Cricket Club. And it's coming from Justin Langer. So, power of technology. I'm going to share my screen. So hopefully we can get this one up and working. So hopefully my screen is now on everyone's screen. And we can play the question from Justin Langer.
Hi to all the Somerset supporters, Justin Langer here. I hope you're having a nice night. I've been asked to ask this question. I'm a bit embarrassed really because I didn't even know the answer myself. But here we go. How many first class matches did I play for Somerset? Is it A, 28, is it B, 48, or is it C, 78? Good luck. I hope you have a great night. Hopefully see some of you soon.
Brilliant. So hopefully everyone got that. So if anyone did miss it, just to repeat, how many first class matches did Justin Langer play for Somerset? Was it A, 28, B, 48, or C, 78? So that concludes the questions. So just whilst we get ready for the answers, just a little bit on that Justin Langer piece. Myself and Keith Parsons caught up with Justin yesterday as part of our Somerset Stories feature. Little bit of a plug here, but it's well worth checking out the catch up we did with Jamie Cox if you haven't already on the club website. And just to make you guys aware that we'll be posting the full Justin Langer interview on the site soon, so one to look forward to there. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, how did everyone find that? Some interesting snippets there for sure. So we're going to go back through the answers now, and I'm going to head back to Chief Executive Gordon Hollins, who's going to take us through round one. We'll just unmute Gordon. There he is. We got you, Gordon. So, counting to.
Me.
There we go.
Here we go.
You got me.
We got you.
That's the third time I've done that today. Okay, so the answer to the question, in which year was greyhound racing first held at the ground? 1955, 61 or 65 or 71? The answer to that is 1961. 1961. The second question, so that was B, 1961. Second question, what year was Somerset Pavilion, now known as the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion, first in use for a cricket match? Was 2016. So that would have been the year before the International 2020, wouldn't it? 2016. How many floodlight pylons? Answer is 5. I'll bet there's a few that said 4. Question 4, the Somerset Pavilion would be renamed the Marcus Trescothick Pavilion. What would the Marcus Trescothick stand now be referred to as? And the answer is the River Stand. The River Stand. Question 5, what year was the club formed? Is 1875. Everyone must have got that because it's plastered everywhere around the ground. 1875. Number 6. And this was the tricky one. Number 6. How many grounds in Somerset have hosted first-class cricket? The answer is C. 14.
Can you name them?
I can.
Please.
I have them written down, and anyone that got these would have done well. So the Cooper Associates County Ground has staged 886 matches. Bath has staged 255. Weston-super-Mare 191. Frome 18. Glastonbury 18. Yeovil 12. Wells 11. The Imperial Ground Bristol 9. West Henford 5. Knowle Cricket Club 3. Taunton Vale 2, Downside School 1, Lansdowne 1, and Millfield School 1.
Wow.
So you'd have done well to get all 14. Vic, how many of them did you play at?
Not that many. I'm not that old. But probably, if you take in one-day games, about half a dozen, I think.
Half a dozen of them.
Yeah.
Fantastic question. Right, what number are we on now? True or false? Betting company William Hill, was it named? That's a false. That's never been named the William Hill Ground. 8. How many seats are in the Somerset stand? The answer is C, 2,341. 9. Who are the St. James Street gates named after? Is Jack White. Not Lewis Gregory, Jack White.
Yeah.
I've been there most days and not remember that.
There you go. And question 10, true or false? There used to be stables situated at the ground with horses used to assist the ground staff in rolling the pitch. That is true. Is that where the museum is now then, Ben?
Credit to Sarah Trunks for this question. I believe she mentioned it was out the back of where the Colin Atkinson Pavilion is now situated. It's there's sort of like between there and the road, way back,
Yeah.
I believe.
Back in the day. Fantastic. Back to you, Ben.
Great, thanks, Gordon. So whilst we're not doing this formally, if people want to just pop their scores in the group chat there, they're more than welcome to. We can give shout outs if anyone's done particularly well as we go through. So feel free to share your scores in the chat if you'd like. We're going to move now to the glory years and Vic Marks.
Okay. Well, here we go. How many trophies? The answer was 5 between 79 and 83. 5. How many overs per side? Well, it was 60 overs per side. Seems unthinkable now you get 60, 120 overs in. The first Gillette Cup season, it was 65 overs, I think. But it was 60 in 1979. Ian Botham played more matches, one-day matches for Somerset than Viv by 230 against 218. So quite close. Dennis Breakwell. Well, he was called lots of things. And I think Twitch was amongst him. He was also called the Severed Nerve for some reason. He was a nervous cricketer, but a good one. And a great coach too. Well, I'm sure you all got incredible figures of 5 for 14 from 11 overs, 1981. Joel Garner, very predictably. Joel never won a Man of the Match award at a Lord's final, and he always bowled brilliantly. But Viv usually got 100. Except in 1983, I was Man of the Match. Well, I was, curiously. And I won't talk you through that now. Number 7, how tall was Joel Garner? It was C, 6'8". 6'8". The 1983 NatWest Trophy match, when Ian Botham made 96 not out, it was the semi-final against Middlesex. And the unusual element was that Somerset won the match by losing 1 fewer wicket. And it was an incredible last over, because I think when the last over started, the scores were level. But Both decided he was going to be, and he was on 96 not out as well. But Boss decided he was going to be clever, because he knew that if the scores stayed as they were, we'd win through not having lost as many wickets. So he blocked out a maiden and was very pleased with himself for doing so too. The good thing is we won. Which bookmaker? Well, it was a chap called Len Creed from Bath. It was quite a punt he took on Viv Richards. No one knew he was any good. But Len Creed's toured the West Indies, and someone told him that you ought to have a look at this bloke, and he brought him over to Somerset. Oh, and the final question, who was man of the match? Remember, Garner took 4, Ian Botham took 4. One of my favourite men was doing the Man of the Match award that day. And it was Arthur Milton from Gloucester, who was doing the Man of the Match award. And in lovely sort of West Country fashion, he said, well, I just couldn't separate Garner or Botham. They both bowled really well. So I'm giving it to Trevor Guard, he said, who took 5 catches. So the answer to that was Trevor Guard. And that completes the results from the glory years.
like the football results, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, good.
Thank you very much, Vic. So now on to 90s/early noughties and Marcus Trescothick.
Okay. I just wanted to point out the first round, Max Waller only got 5. I thought it was disappointing for him, so I think he needs to up his game. How did you get this time, Max? Let's have a look. Right, let's go. In what year did I make my Somerset debut? That was 1993. Who scored the winning runs in the 2005 T20 Cup final? Was James Hildreth. I got that wrong. I thought that was Graham Smith.
He's English.
Anyway, Somerset reached the 2002 C&G final. Who took the winning or the final wicket? It was Stephen Jones. True or false, Peter Trigo once scored a goal from his own area? That is, of course, true. If anyone knows Peter, I'm surprised it wasn't from the penalty box or something like that. How many first-class wickets did Andy Caddick take? 875. That was B. Who scored more runs for Somerset? Either Graham Smith or Ricky Ponting? That was Graham Smith. Who took the crucial wicket Ashide Afridi in the 2001 C&G final? Richard Johnson. How many test match wickets do I have? Just the one. It was a good one.
Well, cover. I mean, it was hardly an outside edge.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's still one though, isn't it, Vic?
Yeah.
And question number 10. By myself, who was the other player to play involved in the 2005 Ashes series and who did he catch? It was, again, James Hildreth. And he caught Ricky Ponting. He came on as 12th man at Lord's.
You missed question 9, I think.
Did I? That's not a surprise. I did, yeah. It was a long one, wasn't it? On 2000, June 27th, 2006, Somerset smashed a record. What was the get? The answer was 250 for 3. Job done.
Thank you, Marcus. Brilliant. We're going to now move to the current era and Lewis Gregory. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to unmute Max Waller for this round because there's a question that relates him. So
Can I just see how many Max got in the last round a minute? Hang on. See what he's got. Oh, Max Waller, 4. So he's got 9 out of 20 so far.
16 now out of 30.
Well done.
Lewis, over to you, mate.
Lovely. Right, question 1. Who has more first-class wickets for Somerset, myself or Jack Leach? The answer is myself. 250 v 222. Had a bit of fun with Leachy with that one today. Question 2. Who was man of the match in the 2019 Royal London One Day Cup final? The answer was Jamie Overton. Question 3. The poorly parked car on the Royal London One Day Cup game was at Sussex.
It's a dreadful bit of parking. It's like watching Waller trying to park.
Sounds about right, to be honest. Question 4. On what ground did I score my maiden first-class century? The answer is Lord's. I think we're in the bush a little bit. I think Trez shinned one early on.
Again.
Which IPL franchise was Tom Banton picked for in the most recent auction? The answer is Kolkata Knight Riders. Question 6, true or false? I have a black belt in Taekwondo. The answer is true.
No way.
Yeah.
No, you do not.
I'll bring it in, a show and tell for you one day, Trez.
I'll see some moves tomorrow when we're in.
I was a lot younger and a lot more flexible. Question 7. Which current member of the Somerset squad played tennis at Wimbledon? The answer was A, Steve Davis.
Any idea how that came about?
Not a clue.
Okay.
Not a clue. I know him, Max and Abe's, I think, play quite a lot of tennis together or have done.
I think Max is the worst again.
Never. I will bite.
Question 8, another true or false. James Hildreth has played football for Bristol City. The answer is false. I believe he was on the books for Luton Town. Lovely footballer. Better than Waller again. Another one.
Oh, it's too easy.
Okay, your question, Maxi. What ground did you take your 100th T20 wicket for Somerset? You'd like to give us the answer if you know it?
That was Fire Gardens, Lewis.
It was indeed.
Hope you got that right, Max.
Guilty.
Can you remember it?
Yeah, I kind of just ran past you, screaming.
I do remember it.
Absolute pie caught long on my slip cordon.
Shock. Question 10. Who scored the most runs for Somerset during the 2019 Vitality Blast? The answer is Baba Azam. How'd you get, Goose? 10 out of 10?
No, only 6 again.
Wow.
You've had a bad night.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Lewis. So that last question, the Justin Langer question, and we're going to award 5 points for this one. The answer was B. Justin played 48 first-class matches for Somerset. He averaged 51 and with a top score at 342. That was at Guildford. So 5 points if you got that one right. So add up your scores, everyone. And I say if you want to pop those in the chat, we'll give some shout outs if we see some decent answers and things. I hope everyone found that really interesting. So, yeah, some good scores. Mike, 37 out of 45. Good work.
That is good.
That is very, very good. 32, Peter Wanless, excellent. So anything over 30 is looking a good score there, I think. So congratulations if you're around there or thereabouts. So we've got probably 10 or so minutes just to wrap up. We're just going to do a little bit of a Q&A. How we're going to go about this, if you guys have got questions, I mean, we just pop a little note in the chat that says question 4, and then the person that you want to ask a question to. What we'll do is we'll invite you to unmute your microphone, and then you can ask your question. So if you would like to ask a question for anyone, just sort of pop something in the chat now, and we can facilitate that for you, and you can pop yourself on mute. So any questions for anyone?
I'll start it off. I'll get our ball rolling, just obviously while we're waiting for some chat to come through. Question for Matt, for Lewis. How's your training been in the last few days?
Yeah, it's been good, to be fair. I think it's one of them sort of moments as a cricketer and as a sportsman, obviously with everything that's going on in the world, to kind of be sidelined during the English summer was a very weird experience. Not being able to see anyone or see any of the boys and have that sort of connection with banter was really strange, and I think a lot of the guys actually struggled with it. And yeah, to be in for the last 2-3 weeks, it was really nice to get in there and kind of do some cricket stuff, really. Boys, from what I've seen from a distance, have been training well, the guys that have been in, and fingers crossed it won't be too long until we can see all the boys back and a bit of competitive cricket there.
Can you give people a rundown about how it's been working?
Yeah, I mean, it's been, bar this week, it's been all individual training so far. So guys have been sort of turning up, warming up on their own, come in, sort of bowl into a net. Got 6 balls each that are ours to keep, and we're the only ones allowed to touch them. To bowl into a net, pick them up, and go from there. Everything's sort of, obviously the social distancing and the keeping things clean have been paramount in the whole process so far. So we've done a bit of catching, and all the balls are getting sort of disinfected after. Going into the gym with a little 45-minute session where anything we touch we have to wipe down. There's a lot of hand gelling going on, so it's quite a complex process so far, very individualised, and it's what's got to be done to keep it going. And thankfully this week we've been able to do a little bit of competitive cricket in terms of having some small group training. So there's been 3 of us in basically group 1, and then 3 in group 2. We've got James Bracey from Gloucester joining us for some training, which has been good to have him down. But Yeah, it's been very strange and very bizarre so far, but it's what we've got to do to get the ball rolling and hopefully get cricket back in the not too distant future.
Thanks, Lewis. Yeah, so just going to start off with questions from the floor then. So Ian Shepherd's got a question for Gordon. So Ian, are you able to unmute yourself and fire away for a question for Gordon?
Yeah, I feel Gordon could be getting hammered.
If everyone else can just stay on mute for now. From here. So Ian, you should be with us now, Ian.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Oh, great. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to being part of recreational cricket and just waiting for the news from the ECB about what we can or can't do. With your discussions with the ECB, Gordon, is it more of a two-way process, or are you making suggestions for them to take on board, or are you just sort of sat waiting like we are in the recreational game for the latest sort of news to come out of Lords?
Yeah. Ian, thanks for the question. And Ian, you talking specifically about recreational cricket?
No, for the sort of the professional game. How kind of involved are you with discussions and suggestions up to the powers that be at Lords about what you sort of can and can't do, and the format of cricket if we do get some this season?
Very involved. I have to say it's quite complex, and the focus up until this point has been on getting international cricket played, and the reason for that is twofold. I mean, you've got people like Lewis on the call here who's worked all his life to try and get an opportunity to play for England, so it's right to try and allow him to deliver on his ambitions, and B, the financial aspect to international cricket through media rights is enormous. The revenue that's brought in by the ECB from Sky is 210 million. I think that's fairly much in the public domain. Probably about 150 of that is around international cricket. So hence why there's been a focus. And that's not about making money for ECB. It's about funding the game entirely. So everything that gets funded across the game comes from that money ultimately, which is why there has been this really tough, relentless focus on getting the West Indies here. So there was a plane chartered to go out and get them, bring them back from Antigua. They arrived, and they are now living in the hotel at Old Trafford in Manchester. So that's where the focus was originally. The discussions that we've had since then have been really with government, or ECB have been having with government, about how they can get professional sport being played safely. And it's not just, what's been interesting for me in those discussions it's not just about the event, because if you play the match behind closed doors, as Lewis has highlighted, there's certain measures you can take that make it safer. But what worries government more is about how people get to the ground. You know, what happens to the ground if it's not behind closed doors. That's something they're really concerned about. And to ensure that it is done in a way that doesn't alienate the public on a wider basis. So it's part of a big picture which includes going to the supermarket, kids going to school. It's being looked at in the round, so it's taking time. Domestically, it's more difficult than playing internationals all in two venues, which is what the plan is for the West Indies series, as you'll have read. The Ageas Bowl and Old Trafford, or I should say Emirates Old Trafford. It's more complicated if you're going to play across 18. So the discussions now are about the formats. We'd all love to play some county championship cricket. We'd love to do that. It's quite complicated. Will hotels be open if we're going to do that? How safe will the hotels be? Will the players be happy to stay in hotels around all 18 counties? As well as the economics of all that. So there's a number of considerations, Ian, which are far more complex than you think when you start to go into that conversation. But we're very much part of that discussion, and we will need to see how they play out. But I'm expecting that over the next two to 3 weeks that we will have some clarity as to whether we are playing county cricket this season. I'm optimistic that we will play some. The big question is what formats, and is it behind closed doors only, or is it in front of attendances? Does that answer your question?
That's great, thank you. Yes. Can I just have a quick follow-up, if that's okay?
Of course.
Does it frustrate you that football, a contact sport, is starting in a week's time, and cricket, a non-contact sport, is not?
Does it frustrate me? When you look at the economics of the Premier League, I read a report this morning that the loss for the Premier League would be around £1 billion as a result of coronavirus. So I think understandably there has been a relentless focus from all parties to get that on, and it's not just about money. I think government are very, very aware that getting some Premier League football on, which whether we like it or not, it attracts bigger audiences than we do as a sport. That has been a focus of government without question, to try and get that on so that it can be streamed into people's houses. I just wonder how much of that is about keeping people at home as well, which is if you've got football on the TV, it's likely to keep people at home, but also the sheer numbers of people that would be pleased to see it are way greater than any other TV content that you could imagine. It wouldn't be for me, but it would be for the majority of the population. So I think that the focus of cricket has been getting the West Indies here, has been getting international cricket on for the reasons I mentioned. We need that as Somerset because a lot of our money comes from that international cricket. So we've been as keen as anyone to get that show on the road. And now, looking at the learnings from that, we can look at how we can get domestic cricket on as well. And as I say, I'm optimistic that will happen.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Got a question for Vic, and this is from Neville. Vic, who do you consider to be the very best commentator that you've worked with, and why?
I've been asked this before, and I have, and I don't like to upset, the Agnews or who else have we got nowadays? Simon Manns or whatever. So my stock answer, and it's a genuine answer because he was a genius, but he's no longer with us, and that's Tony Cozier, who would have been here for the West Indies in another time. Cozier knew everything that was happening at Taunton, let alone in Barbados, far better than the rest of us. He had a wonderful voice, he had incredible knowledge, good sense of humour, and the other thing that I remember that he could do that no other commentator I think I've come across could do is that just occasionally Geoffrey Boycott got up his nose and he was capable of speaking. He would be on for 20 minutes. He could speak for 20 minutes, and he did once or twice just to prove a point. And he didn't let Boycott say a word during that 20 minutes. Now, that is brilliant. So Cozier is a good answer, but I've been lucky enough to work with, whether it was CMJ, Aggers, and no doubt the current crop as well. But Cozier is my answer.
Are you going to cope without Boycott?
I think we'll manage, Marcus, really. Fortunately, when we've worked with him recently, because he's usually doing television highlights, when he's not on air, he usually goes to the television box, which is less crowded. But thanks for your concern, Marcus, but I think we'll probably just about manage.
Brilliant.
Thanks for that, Vic. I'm going to move on for a question. This is for Lewis and for Max, and it's from Alfie Maloney. So, Alfie, you're off mute. Ask your question, mate.
Yes, I was just wondering, how have you been finding the mental side of training during lockdown?
I'll kick things off because I think Max is muted still. I think I've had quite a busy winter. So the first couple of weeks, I actually quite enjoyed it. It was a bit of a mental sort of refresh, a physical refresh for myself, and so I actually quite enjoyed the first couple of weeks, and then it gradually kind of hit me, and sort of realizing that actually this was a lot bigger than the cricket bubble. I think we can sometimes get caught up in obviously that this isn't going to affect us, and everything will be fine. And I think there were a few like about 2 or 3 weeks where sort of I really struggled, and you just wanted to play cricket again, and as I'm sure you do, and a lot of people. So it was tough. Focused a lot around sort of trying to get the body in good shape. So I've done a lot of running. I'm actually isolating with Jack Leach, who's got a little gym set up in his garage, which has been good. But it's just been trying to stay busy as possible. We were actually bowling at each other into a mitt, just to try and keep things ticking over. But we're just trying to stay as physically ready as possible and as busy as possible to keep the mind in as good a place as possible. Not sure what Maxie's been doing. Maxie's just been smashing chocolate, but
Alfie, I'll answer for Max because he's dipped off, but Max has not been working, so they've been on furlough. So they've been left to their own sort of devices to practice, well, not practice, just to train and keep fit, waiting for the moment for when they can come back off. It's only been a small group that have been back training in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. We're just going to go to one final question. And this one is from Austin and Owens. Apologies if not got the pronunciation there, but I'm just going to pop you off mute. Yeah, there you go. Ask away, guys.
When did you realise, well, this goes to any of the players, when did you realise that becoming a cricketer could actually be a career that you could have? And after that, did you really keep up with studies and all that? Did you want to?
Trez, did you even go to school?
So I'll take that one, Lewis. So I started playing professional cricket when I was 17, but I literally, as I went through my sort of GCSEs, I was very focused on playing cricket. So I wanted to become a professional cricketer, and I wasn't really interested in the schoolwork and doing the other bits and pieces. So I sort of let that take a backward step, and luckily, obviously, my career sort of looked after itself, and it went pretty well. That it wasn't too important. But I always stressed, to any sort of young aspiring player, to have something behind you as backup, because you really never know when your career is going to finish. I was lucky enough to play for a long time. Lewis is playing for a decent time already. But we've seen it with injuries and with certain players who fall out of the game and have not concentrated on studies beforehand, who find it very tricky afterwards. So if you can do both and you can combine it, it can definitely work. Someone like a Tom Abel, for example, went to Exeter University, went through all his degrees and everything that he needed to do, and still managed to get to where he is at the moment. On the other hand, someone like a James Hildreth. James Hildreth went through school, did very well, didn't go to university, but is training behind the scenes at the moment, because obviously in the winter we get a lot more time where he is doing active courses. I think he's a qualified accountant. He now works for a bank also, part-time. So there's lots of different areas that he's sort of opening up and getting used to. So get your studies right. Make sure that's okay, and then you can still focus on the cricket at the same time.
Great, thanks.
Anything to add, Lewis?
No, I was slightly different. So I think the sort of academy systems growing up were probably a little bit more sort of comprehensive than when Trez was a youngster back in the 50s. So I always wanted to play professional sport. That was my dream growing up. I played a lot of rugby as a kid as well, until I sort of got picked on the Somerset Academy, when I was 15. So from that point, sort of everything was focused on cricket and basically schoolwork. So I was very, very different. My mum and dad pushed me a lot with my schoolwork. I was one of them people that literally just wanted to play cricket, wanted to play sport, and got engrossed in that. And I vaguely remember in my last year of school, sort of Jason Kerr, now head coach, asked me, who was academy director at the time, asked me to play in the second team game, and mum and dad wouldn't let me go and play because there was about 3 weeks until I had my A-level exams. And I remember kicking off and being like, I'm never going to get a contract unless I'm playing cricket. So thankfully that worked out. It meant that I managed to get some decent grades, and I went down the route of not going to uni and managed to get a contract. But like Trez said, it's vitally important that you keep up the school work, and if you can manage both, and there's plenty of time to do your physical stuff and get out and hit balls and bowl balls, and if you can keep your studies in the right place in between, you're set for plenty of options, should we say that?
Yeah. Great, thanks.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys, and thanks to everyone that's joined us this evening. So hopefully that's been an hour that we've all enjoyed. So hope that everyone keeps well over the next period, and we'll hope to do some more of these over the coming weeks. So yeah, thank you very much for joining, and we'll hope to see you all very, very soon.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.